Yo, good evening and Merry Christmas to all the New York Mets fans out here from USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, YouTuber, creator, host with the most, misunderstood lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, Queens, New York native who is also a New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And you are now rocking, streaming, listening, and watching the 85th episode of the Sports Edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. This is the last episode of 2024. So I want to keep that in mind for you folks out there that's wondering. This is the last episode of 2024. I'm going to be taking a breather. Um, and this podcast will be returning on January 5th. All right. So it gives you some time to actually, recover from Christmas and New Year's. All right. I know this was some new signings and all that great stuff whatsoever, but all that stuff that I seen on YouTube by Wardy and everyone else whatsoever, I will try to cover some of the stories that happen from sports reporters like a Will Salmon, Jeff Passan, John Hamm, and even Mike Puma, whoever it may be, man, that's covering the whole thing with the whole Peter Alonso thing whatsoever. So you know. You know what I'm saying. So, how y'all doing, man? I hope y'all did your Christmas shopping already, man. You know what I'm saying. Um, and I want to start off with, you know what, um, I want to start off with this. We are live and direct from StreamYard and YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and grab that subscribe button for me on the sports YouTube channel page of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Leave a like and a comment along with the sports topics that's being discussed in episode. And of course, be sure to share the videos. Be sure to add the podcast to your playlist. Um, and of course, enable alerts for new video podcast episode, live stream recordings, and of course, new episodes on every streaming platform. I will cover that at the end of the show. All right. So, before I get into anything specific as far as like anything goes, I want to cover two losses actually that we that we have from the sports of baseball actually. So I want to actually cover that actually. So let me start off with something. Um Hang on one second. I want to start off with this actually. So let me check something real quick so I don't miss out on anything. All right. The Mets rumors will be covered next after I talk about the two losses. So I want to start off with this actually. Um, all right, so Bud Harrelson, according to ESPN, Bud Harrelson, the scrappy and sure-handed shortstop who fought Pete Rose on the field during a playoff game and helped the New York Mets win an astonishing championship, died early Thursday morning. He was 79. The Mets said Thursday morning that Harrison died at a hospice house in East Northport. Damn. Northport, New York. After a long battle with Alzheimer's, he was diagnosed in 2016 and publicly shared his struggle 2 years later, hoping he and his family could help others afflicted. Damn, son. Damn. Yeah, that's pretty sad though, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, throughout his health ordeal, Harrison stayed involved with his professional pride and joy. He was part owner of the Long Island Ducks, an independent minor league team located minutes from his home. He called his decades of work with the club, which he was instrumental in starting and running, his greatest achievement in baseball. The team said Harrison's family was planning a celebration of his life for a lasted from 1965 to 80. The light hitting Harrison was selected to two All-Star games and won a Gold Glove. Known to family and teammates as Buddy, he spent his first 13 seasons with New York and was the only man in a Mets uniform for both their World Series titles. The first came as the infield anchor of the 1969 Miracle Mets, the other as the club's third base coach in 1986. In one of the most famous scenes in baseball history, it was a euphoric Harrison who waved home Ray Knight with the winning run on Buckner's era in Game 6 of the 86 World Series against Boston. Harrison also managed the Mets for nearly 2 seasons, guiding them to a second place NL East finish in 1990 after taking over in late May. He was inducted into the team's Hall of Fame in 1986, joining Rusty Staub as the first two players. It was easy to see why the 69 guys loved him. He was great on defense and he was tough. Mets broadcaster Ron Darling, who pitched for the club from 1983 to 1991, told the New York Post in 2018. In Game 3 of the 1973 NL Championship Series between the Mets and Cincinnati Reds, Rose slid hard into uh, Harrelson at second base on a double play. The two ended up toe to toe and then wrestling in the infield dirt at Shea Stadium, triggering a wild bench clearing brawl that spilled into the outfield. Um, Outweighed by more than 30 pounds, the scrawny, gritty Harrelson got the worst of it, but he didn't back down. I have no regrets about going at it with Rose. I did what I had to do to protect myself, and Pete did what he thought he had to do to try to motivate his team. Harrelson wrote in his 2012 memoir, Turning to My Journey to the Top of the World and Back with the New York Mets, co-authored by Phil Pepe. We fought and that was the end of it, sort of. The game was held up as irate fans hurled objects at Rose, and the Reds were pulled off the field by manager Sparky Anderson until order was restored. Mets skipper Yogi Berra and players, including Willie Mays and Tom Seaver, went out to left field to calm the crowd. Cincinnati players were peeved about a comment from Harrison after game two, making light on his own shortcomings. Harrelson said Mets pitcher John Matlack made the big red machine look like mean hitting after the left-hander tossed a two-hit shutout. I didn't think it was all that bad. I was kind of putting myself down a little bit, but I was also putting them down, Harrelson said. Then I heard that they were going to come after me and all that, so I figured that it was right there. And when Pete hit me after I'd already thrown the ball, I got mad, and we had the little match. He just kind of lifted me up and laid me down to sleep, and it was all over. Harrison later wrote that Charlie Hustle caught him with a cheap shot, but the former shortstop would also joke about the fracas, often saying, in quote, I hit him with my best punch. I hit him right in the fist with my eye. The two became teammates in Philadelphia years later, and when their playing days were long over, Harrelson said Rose Baseball's career hits leader signed a photo of the fight for him and wrote Thanks for making me famous. Harrison Harrelson later managed Rose's son with the Ducks, and the elder Rose even attended a couple of games, Harrelson said. Was traded to the Phillies in 1978 and spent 2 years with them before playing his final season with the Texas Rangers. A switch hitter, he finished his career with a 236 batting average and 616 OPS. He hit 7 home runs, never more than one in a season, and stole 127 bases, including a career high 28 for the Mets in 1971. Despite his lack of power, Harrison could be pesky at the plate. He drew 95 walks in 1970 and was always a good bunter. He batted 333 lifetime, 2460 against Hall of Fame Bob Gibson with 14 walks and just 3 strikeouts for a 459 on base percentage. I have always said I'll take God to 3-2 and take my chances. I might foul 2 off before he gave me ball 4, Harrison wrote. Harrison came off the bench in the 1970 All-Star game in Cincinnati, getting 2 hits and scoring twice. He was the National League starting shortstop and following season at Tiger Stadium and won his only Gold Glove that year. Harrison went 3 for 17, 176 with 3 walks when the Mets beat heavily favored Baltimore in the 1969 World Series. He had a 379 on base percentage during a 7-game loss to Oakland in the 73 series after New York upset Cincinnati in the playoffs. As manager of the Mets from 1990 to 91, Harrison compiled a 145 to 129 record. Darryl McKinley Bud Harrelson was born in Niles, California on D-Day, June 6, 1944. He went to college at San Francisco State and signed with the Mets in June 1963 for $13,500, even though the New York Yankees offered $3,000 more. Wow. That's interesting. Harrison said he was a little intimidated by the Yankees' storied history and worried he might get stuck in the minors with them. He figured the Mets, an expansion franchise in 1962, might provide a faster path to the majors. Early in his pro career with the struggling club, he tried switch hitting at Casey Stengel's suggestion and stuck with it. In 1972, Harrison authored an instructional book titled How to Play Better Baseball. After his diagnosis, Harrison joined the board of directors of Alzheimer's Association Long Island and worked with his family to raise awareness. He still made it out to Ducks games, eagerly greeting fans as a goodwill ambassador, even if he couldn't throw batting practice or coach first base anymore. I feel like I'm home when I'm there. I'm with people I love, Harrison told the Post. I want people to know you can live with Alzheimer's and that a lot of people have it, he said. It could be worse. Despite his condition, Harrison was at Citi Field in 2019 for the Mets' 50th anniversary celebration of their 1969 championship. Tom Seaver, his good friend and former roommate, did not attend after the Hall of Fame pitcher was diagnosed with dementia. Damn, son. So there you have it right there, man. SIP to Bud Harrelson. And we got another loss that we got to talk about here. We got another loss that we got to talk about here in regards to Rickey Henderson. Rickey Henderson. Rickey Henderson, the greatest leadoff hitter and base stealer in Major League Baseball history, whose blazing speed, discerning eye, and unusual home run power an irresponsible swagger that led him from the sandlots of Oakland, California, to the Baseball Hall of Fame, died Friday. He was 65. Wow. The Henderson family released a statement Saturday evening confirming the Hall of Famer's death. A legend on and off the field, Rickey was a devoted son, dad, friend, grandfather, brother, uncle, and a truly humble soul. The statement from his wife, Pamela, and his three daughters read, Rickey lived his life with integrity, and his love for baseball was paramount. Now, Rickey is at peace with the Lord, cherishing the extraordinary moments and achievements he leaves behind. The family did not announce a cause of death, but did thank the doctors and nurses at UCSF Hospital, and which they said cared for Henderson with dedication and compassion. With a fearless, flamboyant style of play, which thrills some players and fans thirsting for theatrical energy from a sport known for its staidness, and irritated others who believed the I, icon class iconoclastic approach disrespected old traditions. Henderson broke boundaries alongside reams of records during a 25-year career spent with 9 teams. In a sport that relies on the historical consistency of its numbers, Henderson obliterated the record book, owning the all-time stolen base record with 1,406, an astounding 468 more than St. Louis Cardinals great Lou Brock, who held the record of 938 for a dozen years before Henderson surpassed him in 1991. Henderson holds the records for the most stolen bases in a single season with 130 in 1982, the most times leading the league in steals with 12 and most consecutive years leading the league in steals with 7. As a 39-year-old man in 1998 with Oakland, Henderson became the oldest player in history to lead the American League in steals with 66. Following his final season in 2003, Henderson finished with 3,055 hits and left the game holding the all-time marks in steals, runs scored 2,295, and walks 2,190, a record now held by Barry Bonds, 2,558. Henderson was named to 10 All-Star games and finished his career with 111.1 wins above replacement. Third most of anyone in the past half century, behind only Barry Bonds and A-Rod, aka Alex Rodriguez, both of whom use performance-enhancing drugs. Damn. Henderson was a first ballot inductee to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 2009, receiving votes from 94.8% of electors. I've been saying this for years. Rickey wasn't just great. that doesn't say enough for me. Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson once said he's one of the top 10 to 12 players of all time. That's how good Rickey was. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred called Henderson the gold standard of base stealing and leadoff hitting in a statement Saturday. Rickey epitomized speed, power, and entertainment in setting the tone at the top of the lineup. When we considered new rules for the game in recent years, we had the era of Rickey Henderson in mind, Manfred said, referencing recent rule changes that have encouraged more stolen base attempts. Rickey earned universal respect, admiration, and awe from sports fans. On on half of Major League Baseball, I send my deepest condolences to Rickey's family, his friends, and former teammate, A's fans, and baseball fans everywhere. Over his quarter century in the game, which included four separate stints with his hometown A's, Henderson won World Series championships with Oakland in 1989 and Toronto in 1993. The American League MVP with Oakland in 1990, Henderson redefined being a leadoff hitter by injecting unprecedented offensive power to the traditional role of reaching base. He launched 297 home runs, including a major league record 81 to lead off a game. For all the records, however, Henderson left perhaps his most indelible mark on the game with his boisterous on field presence, celebrating home runs with a hop, a jersey tug, and when the mood struck. One of the slowest trots in the game. He claimed to channel boxing great Muhammad Ali through his play. When he stole his 939th base on May 1st, 1991, to break Brock's all-time record 9 years after he had smashed Brock's single-season record. Henderson plucked the third base bag out of the ground, held it high above his head, and proclaimed in an on-field celebration of the moment, "I am the greatest of all time." His snatch catch, ripping the ball out of the air before it landed into his glove and slapping his hip in one motion, made fielding look like slight, slight, slight a hand to the annoyance of baseball purists. He introduced the play on the final out on of Mike Warren's 1983 no-hitter for Oakland against the Chicago White Sox. Henderson believed his style was preordained. Born in a Chicago snowstorm on Christmas Day, 1958. Rickey Nelson Henley was named after the 1950s teen idol Rickey Nelson, according to family legend. His mother, Bobby, went into labor before entering the hospital, and nurses delivered the child from the car. When his father arrived, frantic and late to the hospital, demanding to see his wife, nurses told him, "Calm down. The boy's already in the back seat." Over the years, Henderson would relay the story as proof of his destiny to be baseball's greatest base stealer. "I was born fast," he would say. Rickey was the fourth of Bobby's five boys. When he was 3, she left Chicago and moved the family to her mother's farm in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. When he was 10 in 1969, Bobby Earl joined the second Black migration, relocating the family from Pine Bluff to Oakland, where she met Paul Henderson and had 2 girls. Henderson attended Oakland Technical High School and immediately joined a dynastic legacy of Oakland talent that included baseball greats Joe Morgan, Kurt Flood, Vader Pinson, and Frank Robertson, as well as NBA greats Bill Russell and Paul Silas, along with Dave Stewart, Lloyd Mosby, Gary Pettis, and Ruby May. Henderson was part of a second generation of Oakland preps to play professional sports. At Oakland Tech, when Henderson was beginning his senior year, he met Pamela Palmer, a freshman who kept statistics for the track and football teams. The two dated and would be together for the next, officially marrying in 1991. They would have two girls. Henderson preferred football, but his mother steered him to baseball because she was convinced his body would not withstand the physical contact of the NCAA and NFL. Henderson was drafted in the fourth round by the A's in the 1976 draft. 3 years later, he made his major league debut for Oakland as a 20-year-old in June 1979. The bright spot on a team in the middle of a massive rebuild following its World Series dynasty teams under former owner Charles O. Finley from 1971 to 1975. His dynamism on full display from the beginning. Henderson truly arrived in his first full season in 1980 when Billy Martin was named manager. Unleashed by Martin, Henderson broke Ty Cobb's 65-year-old American League stolen base record by 96 by swiping 100 bags in 126 tries. The next year, during the strike-shortened 1981 season, the A's, nicknamed Billy Ball for Martin's aggressive base running style, made the playoffs for the first time in 6 years, but lost to the New York Yankees in the American League Championship Series. The A's called Henderson one of the greatest baseball players of all time in a statement posted to social media Saturday, with a propensity to refer to himself in the third person and to be at the center of often preposterous stories that bordered on the apocryphal apocryphal. Yeah. Henderson was one of the game's great characters in the mold of baseball greats Satchel Paige and Yogi Berra. Stories about Henderson were as legendary as his play, such as the true story of him once framing $1 million bonus check and hanging it on his wall without first cashing it. Henderson often sneered at baseball's conventions and did what he wanted to do, which made him a legend to younger baseball fans and players. For the game's establishment, struggling through a tumultuous era of labor strife, however, Henderson represented a new generation of player in the new world of free agency and the millions of dollars now available to players. Unlike previous generations, Henderson was unafraid to demand the high salaries he believed his play merited. Um, beyond the statistics and the awards, Rickey captivated crowds with how he played the game, and it earned him a heartfelt following, especially in his beloved Oakland. MLBPA executive director Tony Clark said in a statement, he inspired future generations with his speed, aggressiveness, and trademark neon green batting gloves. Off the field, B never ceased to entertain with his colorful quotes and references to himself in the third person. He was an American original in every sense of the term. After 6 years in Oakland, highlighted by record-breaking seasons and several high-profile contract battles, Henderson was traded in December 1984 to the Yankees, where he brought his particular brand of showmanship to a team bereft of it following the departure of Reggie Jackson. Henderson was traded back to Oakland in 1989, leading a powerhouse A's team to consecutive pennants in 1989 and 1990, including a World Series title in 1989, sweeping San Francisco in the Bay Bridge Series, defined by the Loma Prieta earthquake that struck during Game 3 and delayed the series for 10 days. Henderson led the A's to another playoff appearance in 1992, a six-game loss in the AL Championship Series to eventual champions Toronto. I traded Rickey Henderson twice and brought him back more times than that. He was the best player I ever saw play. 9 different teams, one unforgettable player. Sandy gonna miss Rickey. For all the flamboyance and hilarity, Henderson was one of the great players of any era. His best season came with the Yankees in 1985 when Henderson led the league with 146 runs and 80 stolen bases, hit 314, 419, 516 with 24 home runs, and finished third in AL MVP voting. Henderson continued to produce his on-base percentage, still regularly hovering around 400, a hollow a hollow, 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 yeah, hollow um, threshold, generally reserved for Hall of Famers. Henderson finished his career at 401. Sorry for the hold up with that word. Anyway, when he returned to Oakland in 1989, his signature performance in the 1989 ALCS against the Blue Jays was one of the great devastations of an opponent in playoff history. In Henderson's MVP season, the next year, he tied a career high with 28 home runs, stole 65 bases, and hit 325, 439, and 577. In 1993, the A's shipped him out again, sending the then 34-year-old to Toronto. He secured his second championship ring that October, standing on second base for one of the great moments in the game's history. Joe Carter's World Series winning 3-run homer off Philadelphia closer Mitch Williams. For the final 10 seasons of his career, Henderson would crisscross baseball, returning to the A's twice more, the San Diego Padres twice, and Anaheim Angels, New York Mets, Seattle Mariners, Boston Red Sox, and finally in 2003, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Part of his aura emanated from his physical appearance. Once in the 1980s with the Yankees, he won the team's competition of lowest body fat at 2.9%. Years later, at 40, Henderson looked the part of a man half his age. He never lifted weights. He would do push-ups and sit-ups nightly, flexing his pipes and flashing his abs to all who cared to see. In 1999, he batted .315 and got on base for the Mets more than 42% of the time. He played his last game at 44 years, 268 days old, September 19, 2003 for the Dodgers, and his stolen base total remains more than 1,000 ahead of the current active leader. Give me 1 second, folks. All right. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to drink some tea. Where were we? Where were we? Yeah. True to his reputation as an ageless showman, Henderson never officially retired from MLB. Teams simply stopped calling. Pamela Henderson would say Rickey, even in his early 60s, believed he could still play if only another team would give him a chance. We would sit we would sit there over breakfast and he would watch the TV. She once said, and he would see how much today's players were making, and he would look at their stats and say, I can do that. Yeah. SIP to Rickey Henderson, man, one of the greatest players of all time. So let me just take a look at the all right, I want to actually go into. Let me see. There any Mets rumors? Let me see. Um, um, let me see. Yeah, you know what? Let's go to let's go to hang on one second here. All right, we're gonna go to rumor alerts in the air right now, man. Rumor alerts in the air. Here we go. Here we go. Um, all right. All right. And this is from the Trade Rumors website. All right. Um, Ken, Ken Rosenthal and Chandler Rum of the Athletic confirmed Houston's interest in Smith, Paredes, and 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 Heel in a report this morning, while also noting that the Astros have interest in Cubs outfielder Seiya Suzuki. Suzuki is a trade candidate in his own right, but club brass has downplayed their interest in moving him. That this inclination to part with Suzuki is confirmed by the report from Rosenthal and Rome, who note the Cubs are highly unlikely to move him. And of course, this was around 11:15 a.m. 10:03 a.m. on the heels of Astros GM Dana Brown acknowledging earlier this week that the club isn't ruling out a trade of either Kyle Tucker with free agency looming next year. Joel Sherman of the New York Post described the Yankees as among the teams most seriously pursuing the outfielder. Sherman adds that the Cubs are viewed as a strong player in Tucker's market as well. However, while the Giants are also involved, the Phillies have at least inquired on Tucker previously per Sherman. But while they tried to put together a package for the outfielder, it's unclear whether or not they remain involved in his market. Buzz surrounding the possibility of a Tucker trade has increased in the days since Juan Soto signed his record breaking deal with the Mets. And as the Yankees turn towards their contingency plans for if they fail to reunite with Soto, it's hardly a surprise that they would be involved in talks regarding, excuse me, another star right fielder. Both New York and Chicago's interest in Tucker's services has been previously reported, but Sherman's report notably suggests that the Astros are prioritizing big league ready corner infield and starting rotation help in trade talks surrounding Tucker. While the Yankees themselves are lacking in corner infield talent, the club reached an agreement with lefty Max Fried um, yesterday to create a surplus in their rotation. And Sherman adds the Astros are said to be very interested in reigning AL Rookie of the Year, Luis Heel. The Cubs, by contrast, by flush in the sort of young talent that the Astros seem to be prioritizing. Top infield prospect Matt Shaw is primarily a second baseman by trade, but spent the majority of the 2024 season at third base. Sherman notes that Shaw is joined by 2024 first round Cam Smith and incumbent third baseman Isaac Paredes are attractive to the Astros as they run the risk of losing longtime third baseman Alex Bregman. In free agency, while noted, while not noted in Sherman's report, it's also worth noting that Chicago has a number of young pitchers who they would, who they could, theoretically make available, including Avia Assad, Jordan Wicks, Ben Brown, and Hayden Wineski. um, as for the other teams mentioned in Sherman's report, both clubs have at least theoretical fits for Houston's reported as well. The Giants' former top prospect Marco Luciano and power hitting utility man Tyler Fitzgerald as pieces who may be attractive to the Astros as third base options, while right-handers Hayden Birdsong and Mason Black are among the club's more interesting young players who could be made available. Birdsong. Oh man. Oh man. It's unclear whether any of those names have been discussed or to what level Houston would be interested in them. But San Francisco sports a deep group of young options in both areas. The infield is figured to be particularly available following the club landing Willie Adames in free agency, and the same could be said of the rotation pieces if they are successful in their reported pursuit of Corbin Burns. The Phillies, meanwhile, are known to be making third Alec Bohm available in trade, but may be an imperfect fit for the Astros' needs. The infielder has just 2 years of team control remaining, and 2 years of a solid but unspectacular third baseman seems unlikely to land 1 year of a star player like Tucker. It's possible the Phillies could supplement a package, including Bohm, with starting pitching, but it would be a shock if the club was willing to part ways with top prospect Andrew Painter and other options like Mick Abel and Seth Johnson are likely far less inspiring to the Astros. All right, so that was the rumors. Let's see what else I have to talk about here, so I don't forget. Let me see something here. Let's see. All right, see then. All right. All right. Let me see. So let me see. Let me see something here. Wait a minute here. Let me see something here. All right, so let's go to the quick side bleacher bar, and the first thing I want to talk about is Sean Manaea returning to the Mets. All right, so that's pretty interesting and fun. So let's get into it right here in the quick side bleacher bar segment. Yeah. So this is very interesting here. So um yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it though. Hold on 1 second, folks. All right, we got some breaking sports news regarding New York Mets player who is signed back again, Sean Manaea. Here's what's happening here. According to the folks from Sports Illustrated, Sean Manaea and the New York Mets are in agreement on a 3-year, $75 million deal that keeps the left-handed starting pitcher in the front of the team's rotation. Manaea, who signed a 2-year, $28 million deal with the Mets that included an opt-out last season, declined a 13.5 player option in November to become a free agent this year. Now he's back on a larger long term deal. ESPN's Jeff Passan was the first to report Manaea's new $25 million per year deal with the Mets. The deal is pending a physical, according to John Heyman of the New York Post. Wow. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. All righty. Um, he started 32 games for the Mets last season and posted a 3.47 ERA with a 12 to 6 record. He had 4 starts in the playoffs where he pitched 19 total innings through the Mets run to the NLCS and went 2-1. Manaea, Manaea, age 32, returns to New York's rotation that features Kodai Senga and David Peterson. The Mets brought in Frankie Montas and Clay Holmes this offseason. Now, Manaea's new deal helps complete the rotation after the team won the Juan Soto sweepstakes, where the superstar outfielder agreed to come over from the Bronx for the largest contract in professional sports history. Soto signed a massive 15-year, $765 million deal with the Mets on December 8th, which I previously talked about in episode 83. And y'all could check that episode out. Um, you know what I'm saying? Where I actually said, you get a Soto, you get a Soto, you get a Soto. I actually said that in the beginning too, man. So y'all can check out episode 83, man. All right. Yes. Yes. So that's pretty much it with Sean Manon. I'm glad he's back actually. I'm glad that he's back actually. Um, you know what I mean? Um, let's see. Like, what else? What else? Let's see. Let's see what we got to talk about here. Let me make sure I don't miss out on things. Okay, so what we have here is okay, so okay, Anthony Gose. Anthony Gose. Let's talk about him. Anthony Gose. Anthony Ghost. Hold on a second. Do I have it here? Hold on a second. Let me see if I have. No. Anthony Ghost. Anthony Ghost. I don't think I have him here, but let me see. Anthony Ghost. Yeah. Let me just look him up real quick. Actually. All right. Anthony Ghost. New York Mets. Okay. Okay. And let me see. All right, let's go to let's go here. Actually, no. Actually, no. Hold on a second here. Okay. Wait, Luis Ortiz? Oh wow. Wow, Luis Ortiz. Hold up a second here. Yeah. So um hold on one second, folks. I want to get my charger real quick. All right. Here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. They according to Amazing Avenue, the website, the Mets have added two more relievers to their roster, inking left-hander Anthony Ghost and right-hander Luis Luis Ortiz on minor league deals. Both deals include an invitation to spring training, though Ortiz is unlikely to appear in a game for the Mets in 2025 as he recovers from Tommy John surgery. If the name Anthony Ghost sounds familiar, it's because he was at one point floated in trade talks between the Mets and Blue Jays for R.A. Dickey, though he did not end up in the trade. Ghost, who was drafted in the second round pick by the Phillies in 2008. Shit. Began his career as a highly touted outfielder before transferring to pitching in 2016. He was eventually traded to the Tigers in 2014 for Devin Travis, where he began switching over to a pitcher. He remained with Detroit until electing for free agency following the 2017 campaign. Um, Let me see. After a brief stint with the Rangers in 2018, the lefty joined the Guardian organization where he spent the past 5 seasons as a pitcher. Ghost has posted a 4.78 ERA across 32 innings, all for Cleveland. Shit, that's fucking crazy, man. Oh man, that's fucking crazy though, man. Oh man, that's crazy, man. That's fucking crazy.
Go! Why? Oh my God!
Yeah, he missed the entire 2023 season as he recovered from Tommy John surgery and only appeared in 4 and 1/3 innings in 2024. In 3 outings, he allowed 5 earned runs on 9 hits with 4 strikeouts and 1 walk. His career high in innings came in 2022 when he pitched 21 innings across 22 appearances and pitched to a 4.78 ERA. Like Ghost, Ortiz was a high draft pick going in the first round in the 2014 draft to Texas. He was eventually shipped to the Brewers in the trade that netted Jonathan LaCroix and Jeremy Jeffress, and then again to the Orioles in exchange for Jonathan Shoup. He enjoyed two brief cups of coffee for Baltimore, posting a 12.71 ERA across 5 and 2/3 innings in 2018 and 2019. He would not pitch again in the majors until 2022 with the Giants, where he enjoyed his best season. He posted a 1.04 ERA across 8 and 2/3 innings before being claimed by the Philadelphia Phillies after the season. He spent the last 2 years with Philadelphia, where he posted a 4.12 ERA in 19 to 2/3 innings. He only pitched 2/3 of an inning last year before suffering various injuries, and he was eventually shut down after having Tommy John surgery. Ghost and Ortiz join a list of potential bullpen options that includes the likes of Dylan Covey, Genesis Cabrera, Rico Garcia, and Chris Davinsky, to name a few. The team also added right-hander Oliver Ortega, who owns a 4.03 ERA in his career across 58 innings. Ortega most recently pitched in the big leagues for the Twins in 2023. David Stern's strategy for filling in the Mets pitching staff continues to revolve around signing low risk, high upside arms to fill out the roster rather than dip into the more expensive part of the free agency pool to sign more established pitchers. The strategy proved fruitful last year, and the team will hope it pays similar dividends next year. All right. I want to say so. I want to say a couple of things, actually, man, from some of the Mets fans who are impatient. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes of the off season. It is a process when it comes to not only recruiting players but also recruiting, you know, relievers and starting pitchers. It doesn't matter whether you have flashy names or not on your team. It doesn't matter. That shit does not fucking matter at all, man. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I mean, you should be able to trust the process with David Stearns and of course Steve Cohen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. It's just so annoying to hear how impatient New York Mets fans are, and I kind of get it, but come on, man. Come on, son. It's not going to be done overnight. So just chillax a bit, man. You know what I'm saying? Just chillax, man. And I keep hearing this whole notion. I keep hearing this whole notion about Alex Bregman possibly coming to the Mets and stuff. I will touch on that probably in a future episode, actually, when we come back from Christmas and New Year's. So I'll talk about that in a future episode and stuff like that. So, hopefully, if there's any more new information coming out and stuff like that for the New York Mets. If not, then I'll cover another sport and stuff. So we'll see. Um, so yeah, that's my touch on this shit though, man. Let me see. I want to make sure I don't miss out on any other topic in involving wait a minute here. Wait a minute, man. So wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. Oh yeah, let's talk Phil Maton, man. Talk Phil Maton, man. Unfortunately, let's talk Phil Maton. Let's talk Phil Maton, all right? Yeah, Nico. Yeah, let's talk about that though. Um Decline. Let me see. Phil Maton. Where is it? Where is it? Yes, here we go. Yes, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Um, According to Yahoo Sports, here's what's happening here. Here's what's happening here. Um, so the Mets have declined reliever Phil Maton's option for the 2025 season, making him a free agent, according to multiple reports. Maton's option was for $7.75 million with a $250,000 buyout. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. Hmm. Um, Okay, let's keep going here. Um, the right-hander was strong for the Mets during the 2024 regular season after being acquired from the Rays via trade with a 2.51 ERA, 2.57 FIP, and 0.37 WHIP in 28.2 innings over 31 appearances while striking out 30. Um, Maton was one of the Mets' key setup relievers down the stretch, but he struggled in the playoffs, perhaps due in part to the heavy workload he had in August and September, as New York was dealing with an injury to Daniel Nunez while getting Jose Butto acclimated to a relief role, with Butto only available to pitch on a relatively sporadic basis. In the postseason, Maton was ineffective in the wild card series against the Brewers, allowing 3 runs on 4 hits, including 2 homers in his only appearance. Maton allowed 1 run on 3 hits in 1.2 innings over 2 appearances against the Phillies in the NLDS, and gave up 2 runs on 4 hits in 3.2 innings over 3 appearances against the Dodgers in the NLCS. That's 2 homers. Despite the Mets declining Maton's option, it's possible he returns on a lesser deal. Maton, who will be entering his age 32 season, has been a reliable arm over his 8-year career, with a 4.16 ERA and 1.29 WHIP for the Mets, Rays, Padres, Cleveland, and the Astros. With Maton out of the picture for now, the locks for the 2025 bullpen at this point are likely Edwin Diaz, Reed Garrett, and Nunez, but everything else could be up in the air. Ryan Stanek, who was a key late inning option in the postseason, is a free agent. Additionally, Adam Ottavino is a free agent, and it seems unlikely to return, given the Mets' lack of reliance on him during their postseason run. Also, free agents are Drew Smith and Brooks Raley, who are both recovering from Tommy John surgery. Meanwhile, the Mets have to decide whether to offer arbitration to Sean Reed Foley or Alex Young. I don't know if that's just gonna happen, man. That's just not gonna happen. That's just not gonna happen. And speaking of which, I've been meaning to hold on a second here. Hold on 1 second here. 1 second here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I forgot to cover this rumor right here regarding Luis Castillo. Seattle Mariners, according to the Bleacher Report, Seattle Mariners pitcher Luis Castillo is a hot commodity on the off-season trade market. Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic reported that the right-handed starting pitcher has been checked in on by the Chicago Cubs, Boston Red Sox, Baltimore Orioles, and New York Mets. His durability and 3.56 career ERA are two reasons the Chicago Cubs, Boston Red Sox, Baltimore Orioles, and New York Mets are among the teams to at least inquire on him. According to league sources and reports, Rosenthal wrote, Castillo went 11-12 with a 3.64 ERA, 175.1 innings in 2024. The 31-year-old is a 3-time All-Star and is under contract through 2027 with a vesting option for 2028. Oof. He comes with years of control and has been healthy in recent seasons, Adding to his value, all of the teams that check in on him could benefit from his experience and durability. Although his no trade clause makes his next destination more controllable if he were to get dealt. The Cubs recently landed Houston Astros outfielder Kyle Tucker via a trade and have been reported to still be seeking a starting pitcher on the trade market. Chicago has a solid farm system and could look to deal from some of it to bring Castillo to the friendly confines. The Red Sox made a splash and acquired Chicago White Sox lefty Garrett Crochet to headline the rotation. Another arm would help stabilize the rotation and allow Boston to push forward in the AL East. The Orioles made the playoffs for a second consecutive season and have a young core that is shaping up to be one of the best in MLB. The team also could lose ace Corbin Burns, who still sits in free agency and is the top arm available. The Mets made the move of the offseason by signing outfielder Juan Soto to the biggest contract in MLB history. The franchise has also added multiple arms via the open market, and dealing for Castillo would help New York remain a force in NL. Now, I don't know, man, because I don't know about because from all the YouTubers, including Wardy NYM, started shouts to him and all the YouTubers that's covering the New York Mets and stuff like that. I doubt I doubt that the Mets want to actually give away prospects for one player. The same way they did not want to they didn't want to actually deal with they didn't want to deal with Garrett Crochet because they were very hesitant into giving away prospects, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, it took them a long time to build the farm system. It took them a long time, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's just that's just how I feel, man. And you know what I mean? So, um, let's see. Let's see. Who did okay. So another person that they signed is wait a minute. Wait a minute. Chris Williams. According to Ken Rosenthal of the Athletic, the New York Mets have signed catcher Chris Williams to a minor league deal. The deal presumably includes an invitation to Major League Camp. Williams, age 28, has spent his entire minor league career in the Minnesota Twins organization following their drafting him in the eighth round of the 2018 draft out of Clemens University. In 2024, Williams hit 221, 339, 461 with 16 doubles, 17 home runs, 41 RBIs in 88 games, and went 5 for 5 stealing bases. Williams also spent all of the 2023 season in AAA, where he hit 21 home runs, knocked in 75 runs, and had a 847 OPS in 95 games. The right-handed hitter had a career high 28 home runs between double AAA during the 2022 season. And yes, this is from Mets Mirage Online, the website. Defensively, Williams has played all over the field with a majority of his time being split between catcher and first base. In 2024, Williams played 43 games as a catcher, 19 games at first base, one at third base, 16 in left field, two in right field, and even pitched in one game. Williams will likely start the season on the AAA Syracuse Mets roster with Jackson Reitz. The Mets signed Reitz to a minor league deal earlier this offseason. Williams was recognized for this work off the field in 2024, receiving the Harmon Killebrew Award. The Killebrew Award recognizes the player at each twin affiliate for outstanding community service. He's just a great dude in the clubhouse, and he's doing some awesome things off the field too. So it's great to have him here. St. Paul Saints manager Toby Gardenhire said. Okay, that's pretty good. Um, who else? Man? Let me see. Let me see. I did mention Frankie Montas, right? I did mention Frankie Montas. So let's see. I did mention Frankie Montas actually. I want to get to the other two names actually. Let me see. The other two names I want to get to is I want to get to the other two names actually. Hold on a second. Let me see. I'm gonna get to the other names. Actually, I forget. Let me see. All right. I've been saving this for a while. Actually, I didn't even get a chance to actually get to it. So I didn't get a chance to get to that shit though. So let me see. So Vladi. Let me see. So Vladi Guerrero. All right. So the Mets wasted little time making a sizable splash in the international signing spree Monday, but it wasn't the rankings of prospects or their potential tool packages that jumped off the page. It was a name, Guerrero. Vladimir Miguel Guerrero, aka Vladdy, the half brother of Blue Jays All-Star first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the son of Hall of Famer Vladimir Guerrero Sr. agreed to a $117,000 signing bonus to join the Mets, making him a member of a vaunted signing class that includes MLP pipeline number 6 international prospect Yovanny Rodriguez and more. Obviously, I'm really proud of him. He said through the interpreter, that's my third one already to sign. Honestly, I just feel really happy for him, not just that it's a contract because he's my son, but just for him as an individual. I feel really happy. I feel really happy for him that he was able to do that. Where Vladi Miguel differs from his big league relatives is that he hits from the left side, where he displays a smooth short swing with plenty of power, lauded for his ability to control the strike zone, especially at such a young age. Evaluators were most impressed by his at bats during game action. In a similar mold to Vlad Jr., when he signed as an international prospect in 2015, Vladi Miguel is viewed as a long-term first base left field option whose carrying tool will be his bat. While he isn't seen as the same level of top tier prospect as Vlad Jr. out of the gate, the 17-year-old from the Dominican Republic has already earned marks in his favor for his dedication to getting into shape for the physical rigors of pro ball. The next person I just mentioned is Yovanny Rodriguez. Yovanny Rodriguez. I want to get to that actually. And this year on January 15th, the international signing period opened. The Mets signed 20 international free agents, with the top ranked addition being 17-year-old Venezuelan catcher Yovanny Rodriguez for $2.85 million. It was an incredible feeling because I knew that I was fulfilling one of my goals, which was to be a professional baseball player for the New York Mets, Rodriguez told SNY exclusively. When it comes to international signings, they are often years in the making as players are scouted well before signing. Often, word will get out months before the signing period begins as to where prospects are landing, and there are rarely surprises that in that regard. The Mets built a relationship with Rodriguez and his family throughout the process, and he was able to speak to Francisco Alvarez on a few occasions, getting advice on the road he is about to take. They always made me feel confident and like family from the beginning, Rodriguez said. Rodriguez was ranked as number 6 prospect in the class by MLB Pipeline, with praise heaped on his leadership, maturity, and work ethic. MLB Pipeline also believes he has the potential to be the best player signed in this year's international class. In talking to scouts who saw Rodriguez in Venezuela, one thing that stood out was that every time they went to see him, he was not the same player as the previous time they saw him. He was either bigger and stronger, or he had improved some facet of his game. Um, the most impressive thing about Rodriguez was how advanced of a defensive catcher he was for a 17-year-old. Hold on. Okay. One Met scout told me that he has a 70 grade arm on a 20/80 scale, and that in workouts he would have pop times throwing down to second that are at the level of JT Realmuto, who is among the best at throwing out base runners at the major league level. He also shows natural receiving ability, which will need to continue to develop as he learns to catch pitching staffs full of different types of pitchers from different backgrounds. Rodriguez embraces the leadership required for the position. My favorite part of being a catcher is knowing I must have the responsibility of leading the team, leading the game, and making an impact during every play on the field, he told SNY. Offensively, the Mets were impressed with his ability to control the barrel of the bat and consistently produce hard contact in workouts and showcases. The barrel control leads scouts to projected project him to be able to make consistent contact at the next level. As Rodriguez continues to physically mature and get stronger, there's belief that he will also be able to hit for power. Although we are years away from Rodriguez potentially making an impact in the upper minors, let alone the major leagues, he has the chance to be a complete player, and he's ranked at number 15 in my top 30 prospects list for the organization. The range of outcomes are wide, but the Mets international scouting staff is as excited about this signing as they have been about any signing in the last few years. Okay, let me see. Let me see if there's anything else to talk about. Let me see. Um okay. Frankie Montas. Let's talk about him, man. I did mention that actually. Yes, let's talk Frankie Montas. Let's talk about that. Frankie Montas. Here we go. Frankie Montas. Um, where is he? Where is he? Hold on a second. Frankie Montas. Hold on 1 second, folks. Trying to find that story. Trying to find that story about Frankie. Guys, hold up. If I can find it. Here it is. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So Frankie Montas. Here we go. Here we go. So if you were able to watch a live news conference as the Mets are introducing Frankie Montas, who signed a 2-year deal. So Montas is the first significant free agent signing for the Mets, who entered the offseason determined to fill out a pitch that lost 3/5 of its rotation to free agency. Joins Kodak Singer and David Peterson in the projected starting five, with a few depth options available beyond those three. This is pertaining to the changes to the starting rotation. Um, in case anybody didn't know about this, so all right. So President operations David Stearns has said he expects to add multiple starters on big league deals this winter, meaning the Mets won't be done after signing Montas. Of note, Corbin Burns and Max Fried remain available. I'm not too sure about that one right there. Max Fried is with a different team. He's with a different team. I forget which one, but I'll touch on that in a different episode. Along with a plethora of lesser options, Montas bounced back with a full season this year in Cincinnati and Milwaukee, making 30 regular season starts and following a midseason trade to the Brewers, pitching effectively against the Mets in the National League Wild Card Series. But his overall body of work was below his usual standard, in large part due to subpar command. Montas did run his fastball back up to an average of 95 miles per hour, just a tick below his career norms. So there you go, right there, actually. So, um, yeah, yeah, you can actually check him out. You can check out his interview on that one right there. So you can check him out right there. Um, else, man. Else. Okay, who else actually? Who else actually? Um, wait a minute. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. Um, Let me see. If there's anything. Oh, wait a minute here. David Stern's Zoom meeting. Nah, I'm gonna skip that. Right there, man. I'm gonna skip that. Now that I have, let me see. There's another player that they signed to. Actually. So let's get to Brandon Waddell. All right. So the Mets have inked lefty Brandon Waddell to a minor league contract, a fifth round pick by the Pirates in 2015. Waddell spent most of the last 3 seasons in the KBO with a brief stop in the CPBL, pitching to a 2.98 ERA with 215 strikeouts against 65 walks in 244 two-third for the Deucin Bears. 2023 was Waddell's best professional season, posting a 2.82 ERA with 160 strikeouts against 44 walks in 175 two-third innings. In 2024, he only pitched 75 innings, but he recorded a solid 3.12 ERA with 75 strikeouts against just 11 walks. Let's see. The Mets have signed infielder. I just talked about Jared Young in the previous episode, actually. They signed infielder Jared Young to a split contract for the 2025 season. Young began the season in the Cardinals organization, batting .285, .411, .506 with 11 homers and 286 plate appearances before being released to play in the KBO, where he was teammates with Brandon Waddell. Once arriving in Korea, Young did nothing but mash, batting 326, 420, 660 with 10 homers, 16 doubles, and 39 RBIs in 169 plate appearances. Former Mets team photographer Mark Levine will be posthumously inducted into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame in 2025. Levine served as the team's photographer from 1989 until his sudden passing this past July. Yeah. So there you go, right there, man. And look, I'm not even sure about all this, but let me see. Who else did they sign? They signed another pitcher too. I'm not even gonna hold you. They did sign another pitcher. I forget who. I'm about to take a look. Right here, actually. I'll take a look here. Yeah. We're going to, let me see. Let me see. Hang on 1 second, folks. All right. All right. Let me see. Oh yeah. Let me see something here. Oh boy. Let me see. Let me see. Wait, who is this? Hold on a second here. Oh, nah. Let me see. see. I talked about that in the last episode. Okay, let me see if there's anybody else that they signed already. Hold up a second. Let me take a look. I'm gonna take a look. Actually, hold on a second. Okay, which pitcher did? Let me see. Which pitcher did the Mets sign? Excuse me. No, there's a pitcher who they signed already. I think Frankie Montas. Yeah, I talked about him. No, there's another pitcher that actually did like an interview. He did like an interview recently. I forget his name already. Signed with the New York Mets. Okay, let's see. 2024. Here we go. I forget this guy's name. He did an interview. Not Frankie Montas. That's it's somebody else. Not Manaea. No. No, not Manaea. It's somebody else. Somebody else actually. No, it's somebody else. I forget which one. Somebody else actually. Oh, wait. Was it Griffin? No, hold on. Was it Griffin? Hold on a second here. Was it Griffin Canning? Hang on a second here. Oh, no. I forget which pitcher because he did. Damn. Hold on a second. I just saw this guy's face when he did that interview. Oh, man. All right, hold on. When he did that interview, I forget which one. No, not Frankie Montas. It's somebody else. It's somebody else. It's somebody else. I'm sorry about the loud car that you just heard, folks. I'm sorry about that. Oh man. All right. Let me find out. Hold on 1 second. He did an interview. I forget. He did an interview. I forget his name already. He's on the Mets roster right now, actually. Oh boy. No, he's on the Mets roster. Let me just take a look. Let's take a look and see. Okay, let me take a look. Let me take a look at the roster right now. Actually, who did they sign? Who did they sign? Because he did an interview. He did an interview recently. I forget which one. Oh, Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes. Yeah. Yeah, Clay Holmes, I believe that's another person that got signed. Yes. Clay Holmes, yes. Clay Holmes. Hold on a second. Clay Holmes. Let me just make sure to actually add that too. Yeah, Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes. New York Mets. Okay. All right. Yes, Clay Holmes. I believe that's the recent let me see. Let's see. Damn. Let's see. Clay Holmes. Yeah, let me take a look here. So let me see if I got the right thing. Yes. Clay Holmes never saw himself as a reliever, only as the type of pitcher, according to MLB. Um, it, as the type of pitcher incapable of hacking it in a big league rotation. He didn't feel that way when the Pirates transitioned him to the bullpen in 2018, nor when he became a standout closer for the Yankees. At one point, at one point, Holmes even considered signing overseas as a starter. Somewhere in the back of his mind, Holmes always believed he could start. So when the right-hander became a free agent last month, hitting the market just as the concept of relievers transitioning to rotations had come in vogue. He and his agent took advantage of he and his agent took advantage of the moment. They told teams that Holmes was interested in starting. Some, including the Mets, were intrigued. That's how Holmes came to sign a 3-year, $38 million contract with the Mets, who formally introduced him Tuesday on a video conference wearing a pink. Meanwhile, back in Queens t-shirt, Holmes offered optimism that he can not only transition. Damn it. He could not only transition. Hold on a second. Aha. He can not only transition. He can not only transition, actually. He can not only transition. Uh, he can not only transition to the rotation, but thrive there. I didn't want to look back at the end of my career and say, man, what could have come from that? Holmes said. It was something that deep down I still had a passion for. Come on. All right. Whether this experiment works won't be clear for months, but both Holmes and Mets officials believe the pieces are in place for a sound transition. Even before last season ended, Holmes began tinkering with a four-seam fastball in games and a changeup in bullpen sessions, two weapons that he plans to use regularly as a starter. Although Holmes still considers his upper 90s sinker his bread and butter pitch and intends to lean on it heavily. Those extra options could come in handy against left-handed hitters. Holmes will also reunite in Queens with Desi Drusel, an expert in pitch shaping whom the Mets hired away from the Yankees to be their assistant pitching coach. During the recruitment process, Holmes spoke at length with head pitching coach Jeremy Hefner, who guided him through what a transition could look like. There's a lot of trust in what they are able to do and what they see and how they are able to develop starting pitchers and even do that in the big leagues, Holmes said. It just gave me a lot of confidence. It's definitely to do by myself. And so surrounding myself with people that I felt really good about was important. So there you go. There you go right there. There you go right there. And Jose Iglesias, I actually read somewhere in regards to him. Um and I forgot what is it? Laura Albanese. Let me look up this story because I gotta look up this story though, man. Let me see. Jose Iglesias returning to the New York Mets? That's the question that everybody's asking. All right. All right. Here's what's going on here, man. So Jose Iglesias, aka the Oh My God singer Candelita, according to Mesmerize. Um, so there were many unexpected heroes on the 2024 New York Mets. Players such as Sean Manaea, Luis Severino, Danielle Nunez, and Harrison Bader and Tyrone Taylor contributed to the team's success. However, Jose Iglesias lit the biggest spark out of all the unexpected players who exceeded expectations. After being signed by the Mets, Iglesias provided great defense, hustle, fun, and magic, not to mention a smashing hit song that gave the Mets their rallying cry. Now, Iglesias is a free agent once again and has expressed a desire to return to Queens. Per Newsday, Laura Albanese, shout outs to her. Shout outs to her. Um, she also has a podcast called First Time what is it? First time caller, first time listener. Wait, I'll have to revisit that. Yeah, Iglesias is very open to coming back to the Mets. He also mentioned that he will have a new song early next year. Iglesias batted 337, 381, 448 with an 830 OPS and a 137 OPS. He garnered 2.5 F WAR with 91 hits and 26 RBIs. Iglesias also displayed his strong defense, mainly at second base and third base, occasionally getting reps at shortstop too. With runners in scoring position, Iglesias was one of the most clutch players in the lineup, batting 375 in those situations. His song OMG was sung all quest for the postseason and into their run to the NLCS. Iglesias provided good depth as a starter at second base and off the bench as a utility player. His leadership and presence in the locker room were also key factors he gave to the Mets. Resigning Iglesias seems to be ideal for depth and leadership purposes. as well as continuing some familiarity from 2024. He can play if Francisco Lindor needs a day off. Of course, OMG playing at Citi Field wouldn't be the same without him. Yeah. 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 All right. Let's see. Let's see if I covered everything. Let me see if I covered everything before I wrap up here. Yeah. Yeah, I already heard the story about Iglesias getting called up to play second base. And of course I talked about the Oh My God theme song for New York Mets players for hitting home runs. I actually talked about that episodes ago. So I'm probably not gonna revisit that actually. So I'm probably not gonna revisit that. All right, so hold on. Let me see. Let me see something here. All right, I think I'm gonna wrap up here actually. So let's gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up right here. Um all right, we'll wrap up right here, man, in this last segment right here. Stream all right. This is where you could actually listen and stream and watch podcast episodes and all that great stuff right there. So I want to actually get this out the way. So let's get into it right here. All right. Make sure you follow Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, my sports show on Threads, alongside with my other podcast shows that I do for a weekly basis, which is entertainment review show, Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, alongside with my number one my number one comedy off the meat rat change New York Avenue podcast. I just finished episode 375. Um and you can also follow me on Threads and Instagram, and along with the other podcast shows that's also on Instagram as well. G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. All right. Now, if you go to the link in bio, you're going to see a whole list of audio streaming platforms um, that you can actually download and stuff. So, and yes, you can download it to your iPhones, Android phones. You can also download it to your iPads, Android tablets, alongside with laptops, including Apple and Dell laptop models. All right. If you go to the link in bio, Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Pod, you're gonna see a whole list that I'm going to go over, starting with Audible, Odyssey, Amazon Music, Breaker, Bullhorn FM, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Overhaul FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podhound, Podopolo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podvine, Snip, Spotify for podcasters, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Fountain, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, the number one app where you can listen to music, radio stations, and podcast show episodes for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card. You don't need a debit card or credit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do, hang on one second. Yeah, all you need to do, all you need to do is follow the sports podcast on iHeartRadio, subscribe on every streaming platform, and also do the same and make sure you subscribe to the Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast sports YouTube channel page. Leave a like and a comment along with the sports episodes. Tell me how you feel about the sports topics in today's episode, as far as the recent signings of different pitchers, different players, all that great stuff right there. And also um also share the videos, and tell a friend to another friend. Spread the word. Add the podcast to your playlist, and be sure to enable alerts so you don't miss out on any new video episode, podcast, live stream recordings, and of course you don't want to miss out on new episodes. If you miss out on any episodes, be sure to do some catching up and all that great stuff right there. And also you can listen and stream, Be sure to enable alerts for new episodes so you don't miss out. Share my link tree, which is linktree/Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Pod, with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, the people you're cool with from work, where you can listen to new episodes on every streaming platform that I just mentioned, including YouTube. Whenever you listen, stream, watch, and get your podcast. All right. So that's going to conclude this final episode of 2025. 2024. That's gonna be it, man. You know what I'm saying? This is the last episode of this year. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Thank you very much for listening to the 85th episode of the sports edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, titled "Take Some Risk and You Will Get Christmas Rewards." And that's exactly what Steve Cohen and David Stearns did. All right. Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. And it's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter. You have to actually put your mind into something. Don't let anybody stop you from following your goals and dreams. And of course, bet on yourself, man, especially if you're trying to create something that you love to do, especially a podcast, man. You know what I'm saying? Be on your P's and Q's. Creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that gets you into your zone, alongside with tunnel vision. And of course, let me not forget to say, there is no manual when it comes to following your path, your heart, and your journey. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It's all about how you play the game. And it's a long off season, folks. You're not gonna get the flashy names that you're familiar with. Okay, you're not gonna get any of that shit, though, man. It's not about the flashy names, man. It's about whether a pitcher or a infielder or outfielder can do the job. All right, you know what I'm saying? And you got to ask yourself this question. Um, are you creating a podcast just for money and the moment, or are you doing it for the love and fun and creation of being a content creator? That's what you got to ask yourself this question, man. All right, man. I want to wish y'all a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. This sports podcast will be back on January 5th. And I'll see y'all in the 2025 season. Peace and one love. Be safe. Stay liquid. Be on your grind. Work hard. Be the best podcaster you can be and be yourself. Also, let me recommend some YouTube stuff actually before I get up out of here actually. Um there's some YouTube channels you can check out. Shays and Sons podcast, Till Mess Do His Part, Subway to Shay podcast. Um you have Empire State of Baseball podcast, Shay Station, Locked On Mets podcast by Brian Finkelstein, Mets Up podcast by Mark and James Yano, CP's Mets and Knicks YouTube channel. Be sure to check out the guys from Meet at the Apple podcast. Of course, Future of Flushing, Trevor May, Baseball Mayday, the Sick Podcast, Mets Magic, Mets Weekly, the Mets Pod, Mets Podcast. We got to believe the call up and MLB Prospect podcast. You can check out Top Bunk Sports, Cup of Mets, Subway Sports Talk podcast, Wardy NYM, a show about the New York Mets. You can check that out on all your streaming platforms and his YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel. Mets Fix, Laura Albanese's podcast, first time caller, long time listener podcast. Filthy Sports, John Campia, He Did This to Me podcast, Locked Up Sports, New York Sports Talk, Mets Therapy, Digging Weekly, and Digging Deep podcast. And of course, non-baseball related, Everything New York Giants podcast. Be sure to check that out as well. If I missed out on any other podcast, let me just make sure I grab the other YouTube channels. So, non-baseball related is Unapologetically Angel. Be sure to check out Laura Albanese's podcast, first time listener, long time caller. Shout outs to her for reaching out to Jose Iglesias. And be sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports New York channel on YouTube for the postcast of the New York Mets, New York Jets by Chris Schubert, the New York Yankees, Giants, the New York Knicks, and let me see, Mets Central, Just Baseball Show. Let me see. Subway to Shea podcast by Anthony Rivera. Be sure to Foul Territory. You can check that out. You can check out Dead End Sports, Unpopular Opinion Sports Talk Nation. Locked On Sports Today podcast 24/7. Stories in the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and NCAA, Ringer NBA. Why am I a Mets fan? And NFL Good Morning Football, and you can also check out Good Morning Football Overtime on My 9 weekdays at 12 p.m. And You Know I'm Right podcast by Nick, which is on Anthony Rivera's podcast episode already. Talking Baseball, the Mets Pod, Mets Weekly, National League Town, a Mets podcast. You can also check out You can also check out Bourbon and Baseball. You can also check out the Rico Bronya podcast with Evan Roberts from WFAN on the YouTube channel page of WFAN. Be sure to subscribe to that channel whatsoever. And that's about it right there, man. All right. Merry Christmas to every single one of you out here, YouTubers, podcasters, including the ones that's covering the New York Mets and the off season and all that other stuff. I'm actually doing a little catching up right now, so I will be back on January 5th. All right, to give y'all a breather so you could actually recover from Christmas and New Year's. All right. Peace out. One love. Stay liquid. Stay safe. I hope you got your Christmas shopping on. I'm out of here. Good night, everybody. See y'all in 2025. Good night.